in the deepest and most forbidden corners of the mind, in the desires and ambitions that mortals fear to acknowledge. Slaanesh, the Dark Prince, is one of the four chaos gods, a being who exists beyond the mortal realm, born from the most intense and forbidden emotions of sentient beings. He is the embodiment of excess, obsession, and the pursuit of perfection. Where Khorne draws strength from rage and violence, Slaanesh is fueled by pleasure, beauty, and the desire to experience everything without limit. In the world that was, Slaanesh's influence was subtle, yet all-encompassing. His followers were those who sought perfection in every aspect of life, artists who craved beauty, warriors who desired to be the best, and nobles who indulged in the finest luxuries. Slaanesh offered them a taste of the impossible, eternal beauty, unmatched skill, and the ecstasy of pushing every boundary. But his gifts always came with a price, for Slaanesh's promises were a web of temptation that ensnared the soul. The novels, like the end times, The Curse of Cain, vividly depicts Slaanesh's seductive power. As the forces of chaos began to consume the old world, Slaanesh's influence grew, spreading through the courts of kings and the halls of power. His followers embraced decadence, indulging in forbidden pleasures and seeking new sensations that pushed the limits of morality and sanity. Beautiful and deadly creatures like the demonettes, fiends, and the mighty keeper of secrets led his mortal cultists in a dance of death and delight, spreading corruption wherever they went. During the cataclysmic end times, Slaanesh's power was at its peak. His followers, driven by the desire to experience the ultimate pleasure, unleashed devastation upon the world that was. As the old world crumbled under the weight of chaos, Slaanesh's laughter echoed through the heavens, a mocking, joyous sound that celebrated the world's downfall. When the old world was finally destroyed, Slaanesh's essence was cast into the void, but his hunger for sensation was far from satisfied. The age of myth, a new realm of temptation and obsession. The destruction of the world that was gave rise to the mortal realms, and Slaanesh's essence found a new home in this strange, uncharted universe. He became a shadow that lurked in the spaces between the realms, a whisper that tempted mortals to seek forbidden pleasures and to push beyond the boundaries of what was considered possible. He sought to influence all the mortal realms, drawing the ambitious, the beautiful, and the obsessive to his cause. In novels like Realmgate War's Warbeast, Slaanesh's presence in the mortal realms is depicted as a force of seduction and transformation. He did not seek to conquer lands or build empires. He sought to reshape the hearts and minds of those who lived in the realms, to tempt them with visions of perfection, beauty, and ecstasy. His followers in the mortal realms became known as the Hedonites of Slaanesh, a collection of cults and warbands that sought to indulge in every pleasure and to experience every sensation. During the Age of Myth, Slaanesh's relationship with the other gods was one of constant tension. He viewed Sigmar's desire for order and control as laughable, seeing it as a denial of the true nature of the universe. He saw Khorne's obsession with violence as crude and unsophisticated, his schemes as needlessly complex, and Nurgle's love of decay as a perversion of beauty. Slaanesh was a god who valued the purity of excess, who saw in the pursuit of pleasure the truest form of existence. But Slaanesh's greatest obsession during the Age of Myth was with the Elven gods, Tyrion, Teclis, and Malerion. Slaanesh was the one who had devoured the souls of the Aelves during the destruction of the old world, and his hunger for their beauty and perfection became an all-consuming desire. The Aelven gods, driven by a need for vengeance, began a hunt for Slaanesh, seeking to reclaim the souls he had stolen and to punish him for his crimes. The Age of Chaos, the Dark Prince's reign of excess. The age of myth ended with the rise of chaos, and the mortal realms were plunged into the age of chaos, a time of unrelenting darkness and corruption. For Slaanesh, it was a time of triumph, a time when his followers flourished and when his cults grew in power. The Hedonites of Slaanesh spread across the realms, their war bands indulging in every excess and committing every atrocity in the name of their god. The realms became a playground for Slaanesh's desires, a place where beauty and horror became one, and where pleasure and pain were inseparable. In novels like the Realmgate Wars Bladestorm, Slaanesh's influence during the Age of Chaos is portrayed as a force that could not be contained. His followers infiltrated the greatest cities of the realms, turning rulers into puppets, warriors into madmen, and artists into twisted mockeries of their former selves. Led by the enigmatic keepers of secrets, wove a web of seduction and death that ensnared entire kingdoms, and the mortal realms became a stage for Slaanesh's endless dance of excess. But Slaanesh's ambition was his undoing, as he pursued the souls of the Aelves with a hunger that could not be sated. He fell into a trap set by the elven gods. Tyrion, Teclis, and Malerion, along with their ally Morathi, used their arcane knowledge and raw power to lure Slaanesh into a hidden prison, a place between realms where he was bound and unable to escape. It was a victory that brought temporary relief to the mortal realms, but Slaanesh's imprisonment only fueled the ambition of his followers, who sought to free their god and bring about a new age of excess, the Age of Sigmar, the Hedonites' quest to free the Dark Prince. The Age of Sigmar dawned with the arrival of Sigmar's Stormcast Eternals, a golden army that sought to bring order to the realms and to drive back the forces of chaos. For the followers of Slaanesh, it was a challenge and an opportunity, a chance to prove their devotion to the Dark Prince and to show the mortal realms that the pursuit of excess could never be stopped. In novels like Broken Realms, Morathi, and Broken Realms, Teclis, the story of Slaanesh's imprisonment is explored in greater detail. Bound between realms, Slaanesh remained trapped, a prisoner who could only watch as his followers continued to spread his influence in his name. The Hedonites of Slaanesh, driven by the desire to free their god, waged brutal wars against the forces of order and against their rivals in the ranks of chaos. They sought the secrets of Slaanesh's prison, searching for ancient artifacts and hidden knowledge that would allow them to break the chains that bound him. The Hedonites' devotion was a mixture of love and madness. They saw Slaanesh not just as a god, but as the perfect being, the embodiment of beauty, pleasure, and perfection. They fought not for conquest, but for the joy of battle, for the thrill of indulgence, and for the promise that their god would one day be free to lead them in an eternal celebration of excess. Twisted reflections of beauty and horror led the charge, their laughter echoing across the battlefield as they danced and killed with equal delight. The elven gods, especially Morathi, were determined to prevent Slaanesh's return. In the novels, Morathi's relationship with Slaanesh is one of hatred and obsession. She saw him as a rival, a threat, and an object of dark fascination. Morathi's schemes to contain Slaanesh and to draw power from his prison became a central aspect of the Age of Sigmar, as she sought to harness the essence of the Dark Prince while keeping him trapped. The Necroquake and the Time of Tribulations, the fractured power of Slaanesh. The Necroquake, a surge of death magic unleashed by Nagash, the god of death, was a cataclysmic event that shook the mortal realms to their core. For Slaanesh's followers, the Necroquake was a sign that their god's prison was weakening, that the bonds holding him were starting to fray. The Hedonites of Slaanesh launched a series of brutal campaigns during the time of tribulations, seeking to take advantage of the chaos and to find a way to free their god. In Broken Realms, Teclis and Broken Realms, Morathi. The aftermath of the Necroquake is depicted as a time of heightened conflict and desperation. Slaanesh prison began to shift and strain, and the energies of the realms grew more unstable. The Aelves, led by Teclis, sought to reinforce Slaanesh's bonds, while Morathi saw an opportunity to draw power from the Dark Prince's imprisonment. The Hedonites waged war on all fronts, their devotion to Slaanesh growing stronger with each victory, and their desire to free him becoming an obsession that bordered on madness. Slaanesh's demons, sensing the potential for their god's return, became even more frenzied. The Keepers of Secrets, the most powerful of Slaanesh's demonic servants, led the charge, wielding magic that could shatter minds and seduce even the most stalwart defenders of order. The warbands of the Hedonites, composed of mortal cultists, Sybarites, and champions of excess, spread like a plague across the realms, their revels turning cities into charnel houses of pleasure and pain. The current age, a god awaiting release. Now in the age of Sigmar 4th edition, Slaanesh remains bound but not defeated. His followers, the Hedonites of Slaanesh, continue to spread his influence across the mortal realms, driven by the desire to experience every pleasure and to free their god from his prison. The mortal and demonic forces of Slaanesh are united by a singular purpose: to bring about an age of endless revelry where excess is celebrated and where the boundaries of morality and sanity are shattered. The Hedonites are the most devoted of Slaanesh's followers, warriors who seek perfection in battle and who indulge in every excess, no matter how dark or dangerous. The Sybarites, the elite of Slaanesh's cults, are the masters of seduction, using beauty and charm to twist their enemies to their will. The demons of Slaanesh remain the embodiment of his ideals, beings of perfect grace and lethal power who dance through the battlefield with a deadly elegance, seeking to draw mortals into their web of temptation. Slaanesh's influence is a constant and seductive presence in the mortal realms. He is the whisper in the darkness, the thrill of forbidden pleasure, the allure of power, and the desire to go beyond the limits of what is possible. His followers see him not as a tyrant, but as a liberator, a god who offers them the freedom to be who they truly are, without shame, without restraint, and without fear. His relationship with the other gods remains one of tension and rivalry. He views Khorne's obsession with violence as brutish and uncultured, mocks Nurgle's love of decay as crude, and laughs at Tzeentch's endless schemes as hollow. Slaanesh's power lies not in brute force or in manipulation, but in seduction, in the ability to make others desire what they should not, and in the promise that perfection is within reach if they are willing to pay the price. Conclusion: the legacy of the Dark Prince. Slaanesh's story is one of beauty and horror, of temptation and corruption, of the pursuit of perfection and the descent into madness. From the world that was to the current age of Sigmar, he has been a god who embodies the darker aspects of desire, who sees in excess a path to transcendence, and who finds beauty in what others see as monstrous. His followers are not conquerors. They are artists, seducers, and seekers of sensation, who live for the thrill of the forbidden, and who are willing to destroy themselves in the pursuit of perfection. For newcomers to the age of Sigmar, Slaanesh's story is a reminder that the mortal realms are a place of contrast and complexity, where beauty and horror are often intertwined, and where the line between hero and villain is not always clear. His legacy is one of eternal temptation, of pleasure that leads to ruin, and of a God who waits patiently for the day when his followers will set him free to lead them into a new age of excess. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of Slaanesh, the Dark Prince of Excess. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the lore of the mortal realms, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. There are countless more stories of gods, heroes, and legends to discover, and I look forward to sharing them with you.